Hello, hello, hello. There we go. Welcome everyone. Just need to make sure I hear my voice in the microphone, and that's what we're going to be talking about today is building your own home studio. Ooh. And I have the giveaway ready right over here. We'll go to the laptop. As you can see, boom, boom, boom. Over there is, or if you're on Instagram, it's down there. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you're watching on LinkedIn, I'm not going to get your comments. Instagram, they will show up in front of me, but they don't. I can't bring them into the show. So I am using an Insta or InStream to go to Instagram, and I'm using a YoloBox Pro to go to everywhere else. So thank you all for joining me today. I should basically do my introductions because not everyone has been here every week, but my name is Anthony Barocas. I am a 20-year live streaming, multi-camera, live switching broadcast producer based in the Dallas area of Texas. And it doesn't matter whether it's live switching to broadcast, live switching to be recorded, or live switching to stream. That type of production all remains the same. And today, what we're going to be talking about is if you're doing something like I'm doing and you want to build a home studio. Now, everybody's home studio is different. Everybody's needs are different, which is why in the title, I was talking about how you can build a home studio, not the best home studio, not this is the best, not this is the only way. Everybody's needs are different. Like my need here is I'm demonstrating things, and that need is going to be different than somebody else who's doing a talk show amongst multiple people, which I'm not doing. So that there are different needs for different people, and that's kind of what we're going to cover today. If you're watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, no, oh, actually, you can't see the titles that I'm going to bring up. Well, if you can't see them on Instagram, that's just the way it is. You can know that we have a YOLO Live Tech channel on YouTube that has lots of tech tips, lots of tutorial videos, informational updates, and things like that. If you are on all these platforms and need to converse with others, there is an official YOLO Live user group. Hey, Null Photo joined me on Instagram, which I think you are on YouTube as well. So thanks for checking me out on Instagram. The Facebook user group, let me bring that back up again. The Facebook user group is actually populated by YOLO Live staff, which I am not one of the YOLO Live staff. I don't work in the engineering team. I don't work in China. I'm an end user like most of you. But they are asking questions. Like they just asked a question about the sports scoreboard. They're looking to make a few tweaks and updates. So if you use sports scoreboard, it is November 1st. If you use sports scoreboard, go to the Facebook user group called the official YOLO Live user group and put in your requests specifically for the sports scoreboard. Somebody says the sport they do doesn't have periods, so they would love to be able to take that piece off because it just looks silly hanging there if they're not using it. If you are not a native English speaker, which apparently most of the people in China are not, but they do a good job anyway, Facebook does a pretty good job translating everything back and forth, but not the best. So if you want, there is a YoloBox en Español group for native Spanish speakers. That makes it a whole lot easier to converse with people who understand what you're trying to say more eloquently. And if there are other groups out there that I'm not aware of, let me know so I can put them in. Lastly, if you need help, you can email contact@yololive.com. So with that, the first thing I want to mention is I do have my giveaway stuff up and running. So as you can see right here, this is the Wheel of Names. And what I ask you to do is I am going to put up this link. You can go to bit.ly, easy to remember, YOLO-Tech Talk Wednesdays, TTW. So if you go to bit.ly/, YOLO dash Tech Talk Wednesdays, because we're talking tech on Wednesday. That will get you there. If you have a cell phone, you can just point your phone at that little thing, and that should take you to the exact same form. It's a form where you fill out your name, your email address again, just to make sure you didn't misspell it, and tell us a little bit about your YOLO interest, and that's it. And that your name will pop up on my list right here. I'm calling it back up on my computer, and thus far it says nobody's going to win just yet. So, what is the prize? The giveaway is every week YOLO Live provides a giveaway of 1 month of free bonding. So if you haven't tried bonding and would like to try bonding, if you already have bonding and subscribe to it, then you can, it'll be added to your plan. Your plan will just be extended a month. If you don't have bonding, this is a great way to try it out. All you have to do is go to bit.ly YOLO Tech Talk Wednesdays, or point your phone at that thing. Actually, I'm going to try it out myself. Pointing my phone at it. I click the link, and I see 3 names coming in. 3 people want to win. And then you win, or you don't win. You could win the 1 month of, takes you right to that form. And so, system is working. I'm getting names. Just a note, if you're watching this later, I'm giving away, the drawing is during the show. So if you're watching this program an hour from now or tomorrow, you're out of luck. You have to come back next week. So thank all of you for doing that. One more time before we move on to the questions. You can scan, you can type in bit.ly, which is just a URL shortener, YOLO-Tech Talk Wednesdays, and then fill out the form. And when you fill out the form, it'll magically show up here. 5 people have already entered. It's literally, it's a live document. When Google says live doc, they mean live doc. I see them as they come in. And then I have to go through this clunky process of importing the names into the wheel, and then we spin the wheel, and then I have no control over what name it picks. So, and is it on tracking? Yes, it's on tracking now. We're going to be talking about your studios, but first let's go through the roll call. And before I even do that, I'm going to tell the OBSBot to unlock me. Unlock me. There we go. So now it's not going to turn. Let's go through here and Leo des Insignat says, my Canon camera stopped automatically while I was recording my show. What do I have to do? Plug it into AC. I don't know what you mean by stop. Did it stop recording? Because based on your name, you might be in France, and in Europe, they have a 30-minute time limit on recording, unless it's not classified as a camcorder, which has higher tariffs. There's a whole thing. So did your YoloBox stop recording? Did your Canon camera stop recording? Were you streaming? Were you recording internally on the Canon camera? Were you recording internally on the YoloBox, but the camera stopped? More questions are begged from there. If you're joining me late, I love knowing where everyone is watching from, because this is around the world. And we get people from everywhere, including, I'm sorry, I don't know how to read that or pronounce it. So hello to you back. But thank you for watching. Binqua says, hello from Georgia. Richard Samor says, I'd like some advice on decent microphones from Paris. You're in Paris, but I don't know what decent microphones are in Paris. But I am using a little, what they call a short shotgun mount. It's a little microphone, but it's directional. So it's down here on my table, and that here, let me go to, I have set up this over here. Hello, everyone. This is the studio. This is all the stuff I have in front of me while I'm doing this show. And I have this little microphone right here right here. And this is the microphone that is picking up the audio for the program that everyone is listening to. Let me just make sure that that is working here as well. Yep, Instagram does have the audio. All right, let's go back and make that big again. And if you have, this is a Sennheiser version of that. And if there are all kinds from like $17 to hundreds of dollars. I have it mounted down here because I found for my show, again, we're talking about you have to make it work for you. Trial and error, you evolve. I initially had it mounted up here on a mount because everybody says, oh, you just fly it in from over top. But if I'm looking down and I'm demonstrating, my voice is headed this way and not that way. And I could actually hear a difference between when I was looking down and when I was talking to the camera. So I moved the camera down here for my show. And that way, when I am demonstrating something on the devices, I'm looking down here and my voice goes directly to the microphone. And that is one of the key things. I stand in one spot, so this works out great. But if I move back, if I've moved from side to side, you can hear it. So if you are doing something like that, there are any number of these small boxed 2.4 gig microphones. I'm going to hold it up here for the Instagram people. This is the Full Aim 1000, but Rode everybody has them now. And these make it so you can put the receiver on the YoloBox, do a little clip on here, and then wherever I might go, the audio comes with me, and it's always exactly the same, and it's nice and close. There's less room reverb and everything. Back here, I've treated my room. I have green screen, which you can see that in the main view becomes my background. But in the side view, you definitely see that, this is the same camera, the front camera is being keyed, but this side camera is not being keyed, just so you can see exactly what's going on here. Behind this fabric is more fabric. There's a gray screen, because sometimes I have clients that want to come in here and film against just a neutral photographic gray modeled background. So I take the green down and I have the gray. I mean, I could key it in there, but it's just cleaner just going against gray. And that also helps to dampen the sound so that the audio doesn't sound like I'm in a little box, even though technically I am in a little box. It's just a small little, for most of the world, 5 meter by 5 meter room that is my studio. And then I actually have two different sets here. This is one set with the green screen, and then I do tech videos and I rotate all of this. All this is actually on wheels. I rotate all of this, and that is my backdrop for my own content for YouTube. But that is a great way to make sure that you could have one person, you could have two people talking side by side, and then you've got two microphones that make it easy to hear both people. There's even little kits like this that will connect to 4 different little wireless transmitters, and that makes it easy to be like here, 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 and you're done. Now they're all charging again. So a decent microphone really depends on what you want to do. Some people really like the broadcaster look. So you have the arm, and then you have a large condenser microphone right in front of you that gives you really close and present sound, good audio, and it also gives the appearance that it's something important because I've got this big microphone in front of me. I personally don't want to have that, which is why I like to have my hands, and I for the demonstrations that I do, I literally could not have a big microphone arm coming in here. That would just always be in the way. But if you're just sitting around a table having a conversation, it gives you something. It gives you something, visually to have there. And then often people will like move it and adjust it and touch it because it gives them something to do with their hands. Otherwise, you're just keeping your hands on the table and it gets kind of boring. Beckwest says, which microphone do you recommend for the YoloBox Mini? Well, it doesn't really matter which YoloBox you're using. The type of microphone you use really depends upon what you're trying to do. If you're just doing voice and you can do a lavalier plugged into this, I mean, I personally don't like having the big clunky thing clipped on top, but they all have little plug-ins, so you can put a little lavalier microphone and then put this down out of the way. I like that. It's discreet. It lets you focus on the person and what they're saying, not the equipment you have in front of them. And it's also wireless. So if you've got the Mini, you're trying to be light and nimble, I would think that lets you travel very light, you know, because it's like, hey, look, I've got an entire 2 microphone wireless kit here in this little box. Okay, not entirely. The actual lavalier part doesn't fit in the box, but you get the picture. Hi, Anthony. Hoping you might be able to give us some insight into the YoloBox Ultra, expected pricing, anticipated shipping dates. Frank has announced that there are videos on YouTube already where I interviewed Frank at IBC in Europe, and the target is, I think he said 1,600. And did you say the dates? Anticipated shipping dates in the Facebook group. Frank just announced that they are moving towards November 10th. So he says, get your pre-orders in. That is the goal, to have them, going out on November 10th. And I had a demo. I had one of the demos from IBC that I did a video on. If you go back and we actually did one of the live shows, go to YouTube, go to the live channel, you will see I have a whole show just on the Ultra. And that was a pre-production model. It had no label on the back. It didn't have any silk. None of the ports were labeled or anything like that. I had to ship that back. So I don't even have that anymore. I have no Ultra. So I'm in the same boat as everybody else. No Ultra, just waiting to see. But that is the anticipated pricing and shipping dates. Sanders says, hello from snowy Rochester, New York today. No snow down here, but it did go below freezing in Texas. So, any news on NDI for the YoloBox Pro? I'm going to say no. And I've talked about this many times, but I'll say it again. Because I have, just with doing green screen and multiple cameras and different points of view, I have reached the upper limit of what the YoloBox Pro can do. NDI is a heavy lift even for desktop computers. You can add a couple NDI sources and you can literally see the CPU usage on an i7 with 16 threads. You can asking a mobile processor to do NDI or multiple NDIs, because nobody's just going to want to do one. I would not ask. I wouldn't even not even want that on the Pro, because it's going to very easily cause lower frame rate, because there's only so much a mobile processor from, I guess now, 3 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, I'm not going to do the math. There's only so much it can do. The YoloBox Ultra, on the other hand, is being built with today's processor, the 2023 processor. And what I'm doing today here is going to be way down here on the Ultra. And that means there's room to do NDI and a bunch of things. So Frank said that there are 2 cool features coming on the Ultra that are going to please people. And I might anticipate NDI might be one of them, because that has been asked a lot. Dave Stemper's in Nashville, Tennessee. Ben Breen says, I got in on the Kickstarter for the OBSBot Tail Air. Heard the integration with the YoloBox is supposed to be great. 2 companies may be working together. They may be. OBSBot actually had one of their cameras in the YOLO live booth at IBC. And if you can see that right there, that's the OBSBot Mini. We actually did another live show just on the OBSBot Mini. So you can go back in previous live shows and check that out. And I had it plugged in with one of these teeny little L adapters. And this was in the top of the YoloBox, and this powered the camera. So literally it was like right there. which kind of defeated the purpose. Like if the camera can auto track, I don't need to hand hold it because I could do the auto tracking myself, but whatever. And it will be kind of interesting to see if the Tail Air does have that integration with the Ultra, because the Tail Air can do NDI, and the Ultra, maybe, we'll see if it also does NDI. But even so, the Tail Air has HDMI out. So being able to remotely control and position multiple cameras and have them HDMI into your Ultra is going to be a cool feature either way. Robert Allen says he's looking forward to the release of the new Ultra, as am I. Guess we could bring YOLO Live and the L-Mount Alliance as well. Cameras on the way. I think is the L-Mount Alliance for the full-size, full-frame Panasonic. I know that the camera, the YOLO Cam, that was shown at IBC, and Frank has posted about it in the Facebook group, is a Micro Four Thirds camera. So like this. This is a GH4, and this is the Micro Four Thirds mount. I have many of these, and I have this out just in case there's questions asking about what kind of camera do I need in my home studio. So I have a bunch of cameras around, so we can talk about that. Saul TV says, good afternoon from Chicago. Good afternoon. Dave Semper says, I've also been using the Fiotech 2S camera with HDMI when I am traveling. LeVar chimes in from Chicago. Ben Beckner says, where on Instagram? I am Aibacom. Aibacom, here. Oh, you can't. Well, it's backwards. Aibacom is my company. And that you can type in on Instagram. Actually, if you just type in Aiba, I'll show up. It's the nice big diamond. Lawler King says, go Dallas. Yes, Dallas is in the World Series. The Texas Rangers, which are from Dallas, beat the Houston Astros, also from Texas. So it was a Texas versus Texas game. And Dallas won, and they are in the World Series. YOLO from California. Good to see you back, Robert. Reaction YouTube says, hello, Anthony. Hello to you as well. And J Film is chiming in from Atlantic City. Arte says, ciao from Sicily. Ciao. Iceland. Wow, this is very cool. Hello from Iceland. I just visited Iceland earlier this year, actually. And I had a good time, except it rained for 3 days straight. But I did get to see the aurora one night, so that was really, really cool. Banquest says, here's I have a Focusrite Vocaster 2 sound interface and connect the YoloBox Mini. How will it work? Will I definitely write in the Facebook group? I would not use audio interfaces because the YoloBox is not a computer. So you can't go in and route the channels. If you use an audio interface, what it's designed to do is bring in channel 1 on the left, channel 2 on the right. You might want to mix them. That's the function of an audio mixer. An audio interface is designed to bring in multiple channels and hand them off to the computer to handle them individually. The YoloBox is not a computer. So you can't go in there. There's not a function. There's no pan function. There's no level set for individual parts of the left or right. So an audio interface, and I have several, is probably not the best tool to use with the YoloBox. What I would recommend instead is a mixer. Now, there are mixers that can hand the video over USB, but it's not the same as an audio interface, like a Scarlett or something like that, or a Focusrite. So mixers, yes. Audio interfaces, I would definitely recommend against. If the DJI mic transmitter is close to the box, won't there be any errors? Possibly, because if you're using Wi-Fi on the YoloBox and you're using a Wi-Fi microphone, there is the potential for the transmitter and the microphone to overwhelm the receiver of the Wi-Fi in your YoloBox or your InStream or whichever. Because I'm wired on the YoloBox, but I'm wireless on the in-stream. Hey, a bunch of people joined. Peston Blecker joined. Two Veloper started following you. Two Veloper joined. Wave. Oh, I can click the wave button. Sorry, I'm new to Instagram. I'm waving. It won't let me scroll. Oops. Sorry. I'm just going to type period, and then it goes away. All right. Thank you all for joining on Instagram. Oh, wow. Oatsi is hello from Botswana. Good to see you again. Thank you for being there. LCast TV Live says hello from Paris. Hand pink waving, hand pink waving. Okay, I'll do my hand pink waving as well. J Film Lumix. Yeah, I have 6 of them. I have standardized on, for DSLRs, I have 6. I have a GH3 and 5 GH4s. And the GH cameras make good cameras for video because you have the large sensor, large-ish. It's in between, you know, it's not APS-C, it's definitely not full frame. But when you can get the bodies, you know, you hunt around on the used market. I purchased, the last 3 that I purchased, I got for $300 each. $300 for a 4K full-featured camera that I can put on any lens I want is a steal, considering the Sony ZV-1 that I'm using as my main camera is still running at $600 for a limited zoom internal lens camera. Good camera. I like it. I use it here because I can, you know, it does this cool focus thing. That's why I use it there. Great, super fast, instant focus, which it can do because it's got the internal lens. Because these have on interchangeable lenses, the focus is not as good on this, but they make great steady shots. So if I cut over here to my wide shot, that is the GH3 with my 7mm lens on it. And that gives me a super wide. So you can pick the lens of what you want to do. Super wide. And that is what an interchangeable lens gives you. Both the shallower depth of field to get that depth and the ability to interchange the lenses. You want to see something really crazy? I'll take this little pancake lens. This one folds up. So this is a little zoom lens that it folds up. And that's nice. But if you were on Facebook, I have a group called B4 on M43. And I started that like 9 years ago now. And when these came out, these are great, but there's no zoom. There's no smooth zooming lens on a DSLR. At least then there wasn't. 5 years later, now they finally came around and built them. But till then, this is the lens I put on my Micro Four Thirds camera. This is a broadcast lens for an ENG camera, and you just put it on like that. At this point, you're mounting the camera to the lens. You're not putting the lens on the camera. And the foot actually holds the lens. The foot does not hold the camera. The camera just comes right off. So you mount this on the tripod because all the weight's here. It's the glass. And anybody who knows cameras knows it's all about the glass. It's all about the glass. But what does this monstrosity give me? Well, you can't see this because it's green. You can see it over here. It's green. This gives me a 15x zoom with a doubler, so it's actually like 30, and constant aperture, constant focus. It's parfocal, so I can zoom all the way in, focus, and zoom all the way out. It's still in focus, and I can smoothly zoom at a nice rate. Or if I'm doing sports, I can quickly zoom in and out and follow the action. So that's what this monstrosity gives me. So what's the perfect camera for using with your YoloBox? It depends on what you want to do. This would be the perfect lens for somebody. I don't use it in the studio because it's not the perfect lens for my studio. But when I do sports, or if I do an event where I need to have the camera in the back of the room and I need to zoom in using 120, so 240 millimeters, I've got that. So that's just an example. Oh, check that out. Down here, you can't. Let's go to the Pro. As I walk over here, the little camera is following me. So again, as I was saying, hey, if you're doing something and you're demoing stuff, like I want to come over here and pull a camera or a lens, I could talk about this and come back over here and talk about it and move in and show it to you and come back over here. So this is another example of, well, what's the perfect camera? Well, this little OBSBot Mini is tracking me. It's super affordable, super tiny, super light. It's actually being powered by the YoloBox. The one USB cable is providing video and power, and it's tracking me wherever I might go. I'm going over here, I'm going over here. Look, I'm talking about things in the other set now. Hey, that might be even easier than rotating everything. I'll just get a rotating camera. So lots of different options for people who are looking to build their own home studio. You know, you could use a PTZ camera like the OBSBot Air, or even this one. You could use a tracking camera. You could use a DSLR if you want the shallow depth of field. You could use what I've got, like the ZV-1. It's a little compact point and shoot camera. You could use I actually don't have a video camera out, but I do have an arsenal of 3 Sony Handycams that I use for events that they're perfect for. I have a big Pelican. They're all packed up with all the accessories ready to go. So different capabilities, different tools for different needs. That's what I always say. You know, people say, well, I want to use, J Film says hello on Instagram. Did I miss that? Here, I can wave. There we go. I waved. Thank you all for joining me on Instagram. Hopefully it is coming through good on Instagram. You can all let me know in the comments. Which is better? You know, should I do my live show? I want to do my vertical live show to Instagram, but I want to do it on the YoloBox. I'm like, no, the way things are set up on the InStream and the show that I'm even sending to InStream is different than the show that I'm sending to the horizontal formats. So I am separating those 2 different tasks in 2 different tools because each tool is purpose built for that task. Same with cameras. There's not one best camera. There's not one best microphone. So for me, having this down here and not wearing something is the best solution for me. You know, how many sources can you configure for a program? If you're on the Pro, you can load and build 12 different things. So it could be 3 cameras, stills, PowerPoint, picture-in-picture, multi-view, 12 things. Now, if you have a bunch of remote guests in your YoloBox Pro, and you can have 5 remote guests and you can have 3 cameras, you're already at 8. You can only have 4 more things because you literally run out of room in the thing. Now, I don't know if the last updates have moved that limit, but when I last tried this and I was doing the show with remote cameras, it's one of the live shows, I got to the point where the little add a video source box was no longer there. I had, you know, page 1 with 6 items, page 2 with 6 items, 6 and 6 is 12, and then that was it. There was no way to add more. So you can't actually get to the point where you've got more than can fit on there. Now, maybe in the last couple updates, they've made it so you can go more pages, but I don't know if they have. Tracy Bumper says, hello from Atlanta. Hello to Tracy. And Tom Melbourne is saying hello from Oslo, Norway, where it's probably 7 in the evening for you, but thank you. Prince Sowa is saying hello from Ghana. Probably 7 p.m. for you as well, 7, 8, 9, 1900 hours if you're doing the 100 hours thing. Let me know. I'm curious what the time is in Ghana, or even if I'm saying it correctly. Psychiatry Online, NDI capability ultra means that we can add a streaming also to remote participants from Genoa, Italy. Yes, there are many NDI solutions. What is it? OBS Ninja or NDI, you know, it's this cloud solution for NDI. And what it'll do, oh, I see. And when I hold my hand up, it thinks I'm giving it commands. Now it's going to track again. And if I put my hand down and I go like this, and now it's not going to track. There are cloud solutions where you can bring in multiple participants, switch between them and everything, and then send NDI down into your local computer. If the Ultra has NDI ingest, then yes, that becomes an option. The challenge will be, do you want multiple NDI ingests for each of the remote guests going that way? Because the YoloBox already has a remote guest feature. So it might be, maybe if that's more familiar or gives you more flexibility over the control, that might be a better way to do things. YOLO Ultra will ISO record. I just invested in PTZ cameras, and that feature will be a big help in us in the configuration. It has been touted to be ISO record on the HDMI inputs. Please tell me about NDI. I have asked for it a lot, Frank. I don't know if Frank is on the show today because it is like 1 in the morning there or 2 in the morning there. I think they are 12 or 13 hours ahead of me. So I would not count on them being part of the show. Frank did chime in once, but it's asking a lot. Hello, my name is Africa, watching from South Africa. First time catching you live, always watch the recordings. Well, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you making the time. Let me know what time it is and where, South Africa. So yeah, let me know what time it is in South Africa. I'm curious what the time difference is there. But I appreciate you being a viewer and making the time to tune in and watch. How do you light up your green screen in your studio? Great transition to the next segment, which is lighting. Lighting is so important. You can have the best cameras, but if you don't have good lights, they're going to look like crap. You can have crap cameras, but if you got good light, they'll look good. I mean, I've got a webcam here, and honestly, I look at the output of the Pro over here. I look at the input into the Pro, I should say, from the webcam. This is the webcam over here, and this is my main camera. You can see how my finger's moving between the two things, main camera, webcam. Aside from the white being a little off on the webcam, it kind of needs there to be something white so that you can see how it's like adjusting. I put something, ooh, got iris down, ooh, gonna iris up, ooh, gonna iris down. I would love to be able to like manually control the settings on that through like a web interface or something, because I think it's a little bit too bright, a little contrasty too. But as you can see, the background here, actually I should go to that. The background is it's pretty flat. If I get really close, you'll see shadows. But if I move away, those shadows go away. So the first thing with the green screen is no shadows. And the best way to get no shadows is have big diffuse sources. You can get, it used to be through fluorescence. You put multiple fluorescents in this big soft box. Those work great. They do the job. I mean, fluorescent is not the best solution. Now they have LED models, but either way, the bigger the source you have. I have a 4 foot or 1.5 meters about soft light that you can see, in the wide shot right above me here. That makes it so where this light is being blocked, that light hits. Where this light is being blocked, that light hits. So my head is not casting a shadow on there. The closer I get to that, the more irrelevant it gets. The closer I get to the backdrop, you can see eventually, yeah, there's that shadow. But even in the green screen, if you're watching, the horizontal version, that is still cutting pretty well, even though I'm here. Now, I did add 2 lights down the bottom underneath my production table to illuminate the bottom because this is up above. What I don't have is something down below. So I added that right down here. And then, as you can see, I've got a little bit of light on my head here. So I have a little backlight up high, and I have another one over there for when I'm on that set. That light is my backlight, and then I have a light over here that's my backlight. That gives me a little bit of edge separation, and because light bounces, the green or the white light that's hitting the green is actually bouncing off and would be on my shoulders, but the backlight helps to offset whatever green is being cast onto me from the backlight. And then I lose my shoulders when I do the key. But as you saw when I picked up that lens with the green, anything green will go away. If you have a magazine with a green header, you will see it goes away. It has this weird, like, wait, I can see right through him type of thing. Wait, let's go this way. I can see right through him. So you have to be careful what you wear, what you hold, what you show when you have the green screen going. But that's the key thing, is making it so I have the soft light hitting me and making sure it's got a good distance to the backdrop, because you have to remember there's what they call the inverse square law. If I double the distance, it's now 1/4 the intensity. If I double that distance, it's now 1/4 the intensity. If I half the distance, it's now 4 times as bright. Inverse square law. So you have to find that right balance between distance, brightness, and making sure it's softly illuminated. Technically, I still have a little bit of softness here on the very, very edges, where I could, having a vertical light on either side, like one of those big pole LEDs shining on there. And then you can even get creative and use green LEDs, shine green onto green, and it gets even greener and it becomes easier to key. You might think you don't want the background too bright, you want to keep it dark. You actually don't, because the chroma keyers work better if the green is like super green. And if you can tell me what movie that's from, you get extra bonus points. I prefer to use my Lumix GH5 Mark II, Panasonic X2000, a few others from Panasonic. Yes, I like Panasonic as well. I actually like the colors on my Olympus better. The Sony's nice, but the Panasonic features for $1, I think Panasonic is really, really, especially when they came out with the GH4, there was nothing else even close. John Murray says, I have been using my GoPro Hero 9 with the Media Mod HDMI into my YoloBox Pro for some sports streaming. I find there's a slight flicker in my video every 3 to 4 seconds. Any thoughts on how to resolve? Just make sure your GoPro settings are the same as your project. So if you're doing a 720p 60 project, make sure you're outputting 720p from the GoPro. Usually that comes when, the GoPro trying to spit out 4K and the YoloBox is having to downsample it and get it to fit, and there's just a lot of math. Boo, 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 boo. What was the name of the camera you're currently using that was tracking your movements? That is the OBSBot Tiny. The OBSBot Tiny 2, actually. I will go to my overhead right here. It is the, where is it? It's too bright. Let me just adjust that. The OBSBot Tiny 2. And what that is doing is it's super tiny. And I did a live show specifically on the OBSBot Tiny 2. So you can go back and I talk about, I show you the features, the box, and hooking it up and what it gives you. So go check out. JFilm says, load the good. Thank you very much. I'm glad I look good. But yes, the OBSBot Tiny 2, and there are other ones. There's a couple other companies, and people can throw them in the comments, that have these tiny little cameras. Insta, I think, has one as well. And the Insta one will actually rotate and do vertical, and then rotate and do horizontal, which is, ooh, check that out. You get 2 cameras for the price of 1. Rakumar, good to see you from India. And Parvez is saying hello from New Delhi, India. And again, that's got to be like what, 11 p.m. something there? Man, 1937 987. So it's 7 p.m. in South Africa. Okay, that's what I was thinking. You're just in line with the east coast of the eastern part of Europe, or the western part of Europe. Becca says, I use a Nanlite 60B for lighting, A6000 camera, and the Sigma 1.4 gives me a brilliant image. Oh, I should hope so, because the Nan light is a nice bright light. The Sonys are super good at bringing in light, so the A6000 is going to be a nice, good capturing light, and a 30 millimeter 1.4. That's just going to be a super bright lens. So that's just a whole lot of light and a nice shallow depth of field, and you get the bigger sensor than even the Micro Four Thirds. So that's going to be a really pretty look. What's the name and model of your webcam? Is that the latest mod of the cam? The OBSBot Tiny 2, yes, that one just came out just a couple months ago. And that is the camera right there. You can see it in the wide shot. It's kind of in the foreground. And if you're watching the pre-show, the camera kept wanting to focus on it because it was right in front. How are you holding up your green screen? Are those Varipoles? What are they called again? These are the Bogen auto poles. Bogen auto poles. I have two Bogen auto poles because I didn't drill holes in the ceiling up there. So I have an auto pole pushing from the floor to the ceiling, and so it's non-destructive. I didn't install it. And then I have Bogen clamps holding a mast that goes all the way across to another auto pole that's going vertically top to bottom. I do have plans to rip all this out and actually put in a multi-backdrop system, but I just haven't got around to it. So again, you know, even what I have here is it's always in flux. What is there something that suits my needs better? I'm going to improve it. I'm going to test other things. I'm going to test that with the webcam. Does that help me? I stand in one spot mostly, so auto tracking doesn't really help. Perfect example of your studio. Our school colors are green, so our chroma curtain is blue and not green as most have. You have to adapt to your needs. Yes, absolutely. You know, I have, originally you can see my wall is red, and it is really, really red. I really like that about this room. When we moved here, it had this deep red wall, that kind of like the background that I have behind me in the virtual background. And the interesting thing is that I initially tried to key on that, and there's enough red in your skin, or in skin. It was just a nightmare. It was a nightmare. So yeah, those hopes were quickly dashed. And green is very not in most skin tones. It's in another area of the vector scope. But yeah, if you've got uniforms or logos or something that have green in them, yeah, you have to go. That's why there's green screen and blue screen. There's two different ones, and both are built into all the YoloBox Pro, the InStream, and the Mini. 11:15. 11:15 in India. Wow. Well, thank you for staying up. I appreciate your dedication. A reminder to everyone who may have tuned in late that there is a giveaway, especially if I find the right panel. That we are giving away, once again, we are giving away the 1 month of free bonding, courtesy of YoloLive. If I can tilt my hand the right way. Courtesy of YoloLive. So if you go to bit.ly, it's just a URL shortener, bit.ly/YOLO-Tech Talk Wednesdays. Type that in, you'll get to the form. If you have a phone and you just want to shoot the screen, I should just make these time out longer. Then you can just scan this with your phone, and that will take you right to the form where you can type in your name and email address and everything. And that will get you to the entry form. We have 14 names so far, so this will be a fun spin. We'll do that at the end of the show, but we're still going. You know, we're not ending the show yet. We giveaways during the show. If you watch this show later on a repeat or just a download or something like that, the giveaway happened during the show. The giveaway is already done. If you're watching the show live, it's going to happen soon. If you're watching the show after the fact, it already happened. Because it was funny, because I have the form, it's a live form. There's no turning the form off on Google. And I found people were entering days later because they were watching the show days later, and they, oh yeah. So don't worry about it. If you're watching the show on Thursday or Friday or Saturday or a month later, tune into a live show. These are live giveaways. And once again, point and click or type, and that's how you can enter. Let us continue down our comments. PM. I think it's smart to wait for PTZ cameras where you can control white balance and other settings. There are many that you can. And there, as I said, there may be a way with these, with the webcam, to go in and set it to manual settings and then just have it stay that way. I have not hooked this up to a computer yet. There's lots of other features in this little camera, that there's like a desktop mode where you can have it shoot the desktop, and then in the camera it's actually going to correct the keystoning so it looks like it's looking straight down from above, which would be pretty cool. Wouldn't work for my situation. I actually need to have a looking straight down just because of the angle of how I've got things tilted. And if you watched last week's show, you saw we talked about these cages and things like that. So I am once again using the PK1 to hold the Pro that I'm doing the show with. So what I'm pointing out here is, if I were to, no, not the iris, if I were to adjust the, that's the focus. If I were to adjust the zoom, there we go. And then the focus, there we go. This is at an angle, and if I have a webcam up here at an angle, then the problem is this webcam is going to see things at an angle, and it's not really going to see the screen of what I'm doing, so it couldn't correct. I actually need to have an overhead camera looking straight down at the screen so that when I'm demoing things, you can actually see what I'm doing. So this camera is an AIDA HDMI camera. It's not a USB camera, and then it has a CS mount lens, and this is very focal, which doesn't mean focus, it means focal length, and it's a variable focal length, which means it zooms. So this is a zoomable lens, but as you saw when I tried to change the shot, unlike the big lenses, the broadcast lenses, when you change the zoom, you lose the focus and you have to refocus. So that's a difference. This is not parfocal, those are parfocal. And parfocal means it holds focus when you zoom, once it's calibrated. So if you have any other studio questions, throw them in. We're nearing the end of the show, but I appreciate you all being here. Hey, we got a couple more names in, and on Instagram, I don't have a way to show you the what's going on. Maybe what I'll do next week is down here on Insta, I will loop through the output of the Pro into here so that when I do the overlays, you can see them on the little program thing at the bottom of the screen. So what I'm actually doing is I'm looping in my ATEM, and that kind of is like when I have this multi-view, why do I have so much stuff on the table? Well, this Pro is what I'm using to show. This Pro is what I'm using to actually do the show. The comments, the camera switching, the pre-show countdown, the titles, the giveaways, and all that are all happening over on this machine. This is my demo, and that's the actual production machine. I have the Insta or the InStream going to Insta right here. But I have this massive switcher over here. Like, why do I have this? And this is actually an upgrade. Originally I had the ATEM Mini because I needed more inputs than the 3, and I needed 4, and then I needed 5, and then I needed 6. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 things plugged into it. But what it's also doing is it's splitting the output and going to both the Pro and the Insta. So on Instagram, when you see this view at the bottom of the screen, it's actually coming out of the ATEM Mini. So it's actually acting kind of as a video splitter or a distribution amp as well. But what it does is it lets me switch what's in that other frame. So I can go to the laptop. I can go to the vertical. I can go to the output of the Pro. I can go to my overhead camera. I can go to the other horizontal camera, which is not hooked up, and I can go to this camera that I set up special for today's show. And that way, I only need one PIP. I only need one, multi-view, and it's easy to switch what's in that side because that is not a camera. That is the output, or if you're on Instagram, that is the output of this switcher. So whatever I switch to on that. And it makes it easy because I can, just touch it too. I don't have to. Ooh, that was interesting. Did I turn on a? I'll turn that title off. I can easily switch between the different cameras without looking because it has big fat buttons that you can touch. It's not a touch screen where you have to look at it to make sure that you're touching the right spot. I can feel the buttons, and that way I don't have to look at it. I can just easily switch between things without ever looking at it. So that's another advantage of having a physical control surface for your cameras before going into your YoloBox. If, however, you need auto switch, you can kind of do that with a macro on the ATEM, or you could use the auto switch in the YoloBox and the InStream. Coming back here, looking at any more questions. Nope, I don't see any more questions. So let me just go through the standards before we get to the drawing. Actually, I'll go over here again. If you are late to the show, we are doing a giveaway of let me go here and switch it here. We are doing a giveaway of 1 month of free bonding. And if you don't have bonding, the giveaway will be 1 month of bonding. If you already have a bonding package, you'll have 1 month added to it. So either way, you get it. But it's a great way to check out whether bonding can work for you. And bonding on the YoloBox and the InStream, what it does is it takes your connection, whether it be Ethernet or Wi-Fi or an internal cellular, and spreads your data across all those different things. So if all of a sudden your cellular connection drops or your Wi-Fi connection to a hotspot drops, you could have two different cellular connections, one over Wi-Fi, one over internal cellular, and it could lean heavily on one or the other as you're throughout the different show as one is better. And what that does is that makes sure that your signal gets through. That's what bonding really offers. I did also have a couple other questions that came in. Someone asks, they had an account bonding issue. Why I can't bond my YouTube or Facebook account on the YoloBox Pro or the Mini? You need to set up your bonding accounts on YoloCast. And if you are, do I have that? I don't have that tab set up. So on YoloCast, which is, there's a paid part and there's a free part. And if you are paying for bonding, you can go into YoloCast and set it up so that everything works through, all the bonding works through all those different destinations. Another question came in and says, I can't stream to Facebook pages. Why can't I stream the Facebook page? Only my personal account. You really have to, it comes down to Facebook is continually making changes and updating things, and what works one week may not work the next week. So if you were already given authority and access to administer those admin privileges for those pages, you should be able to, but it doesn't mean you always will, because Facebook is always changing things. So let me come over here to this. No, not that. I have an answer here. Where are my downloads? Downloads. And open. Sorry, taking a minute. I thought I had this set up, but I don't. And make it a little larger. So we go over here to the laptop and get me out of the way. And what it is Facebook has made changes. This is back in May. So hopefully everybody's got this ironed out, but the question still exists for pages that are just there a long time. Some pages are not displayed when adding a destination using YoloLiveBox or YoloCast. Either way, it affects both things. You can check your Facebook page permissions by opening Facebook and check the left-hand side pages directory to see if the page you want to add is displayed. The new pages experience, they called it. And again, some of these things they roll out over time to different people. So other people may see it and fix it, and other people are like, oh, I haven't had the change. And then 2 months later, they're like, hey, it's not working. And they completely forget about the change that someone else had to deal with. Ask the page owner to go to Facebook page, settings, new pages experience, page access, and people with Facebook access, and then they add new. I mean, it's very cumbersome, but I hope this information helps people understand that Facebook is always evolving. Facebook is always changing, and they add new features and new layers to administration. So that means that we as streaming producers have to find the new pathways through the new settings to make sure that those things which did work still work. So I hope those two things help people get those things set up. Boom, 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 boom. And now back to where I was before. Thank you everyone for watching. We've been here for over an hour, and my name is Anthony Barocas. I am an independent producer in Dallas, Texas. I produce the English language. I'll just go to here. I produce the English language tutorials and content for the YoloBox. I'll go here. And I also do this live show where we get to give stuff away. If you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, know that we have a YOLO Live Tech channel on YouTube. If you are any of those places and not on Facebook, we have an official YOLO Live user group on Facebook where people help each other out. We discover things, we report bugs, and often the YOLO Live team actually asks questions. And the most recent was, hey, if you use the sports scoreboard, how can we make it better? So that is one of the things that is super awesome about using the YOLO Live technology, is that they're involved. They want to know how they can manipulate and make these things better. If you're a native Spanish speaker, I'll touch that again. There's YoloBox en Español, a dedicated group to Spanish. And if you need to reach out directly to YOLO Live, there is contact@yololive.com. I will now go over to close this. This is going to be a little cumbersome. I apologize for this already, but we are going to go side by side, and we are going to go to the laptop. So this is the Wheel of Names. It's a website, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to More. I'm going to link my Google spreadsheet that everybody who wanted to be part of this giveaway has signed up on. And I'm doing this, in front of everybody, so an error occurred. Replace your page with Control-Shift-R. Really? All right, let's refresh the page. I'm doing this in front of everybody so you can see it's not preset. I don't have things already lined up. And it's also because Wheel of Names actually times out, I think, after they say 5 minutes. So I don't know why, but they do. Hopefully this will load. It loaded when I tested it this morning. Really? Swiping down. I don't understand. I hit refresh. I'll do it again. And at the bottom, you see it says activate Windows. I installed Windows 11 Tiny on this laptop because Windows 10 was just completely bogging down. But it looks like I am going to have to get a whole new laptop just for doing this, because even this laptop with a clean version of Windows is clearly still having problems. Oh, there we go. Yay. Loading. Now, wait for it. Wait for it. This is part of the... It should be easier to do than this. There we go. Okay. It's still loading the screen. There we go. Now I can click on the names that have come in. I say select. And then it's going to ask me what. No, not the issue reported. We want, what? No, that's not the right one. Cancel that one. Oh, sorry, we're going to have to do this all over again. I should have music playing for this part, right? Shouldn't I? But we shall see. That's interesting that it, what? No, I'm just clicking. Yes, that's the right account. Use that. Stop thinking I'm right-clicking. I'm not. And if we select a spreadsheet, bonding. Sorry, I don't know why the common issues one was updated, but there we go. We don't want the timestamp. We want your name. Say OK. All right, there we go. It imported all the names. You can see the little link on the right there. It's got 16 names. It's linked to the spreadsheet. I'm going to click to spin, and then there it goes. It's all out of my hands now. The winner of the month of bonding is David Gann. Thank you very much. Yay! I should hook up audio from that too, because it actually plays like, applause and everything. So David Gann, I will forward your information over to the YOLO Live team, and then they will reach out to you. Yes, unfortunately, it's not. It is as cumbersome as that, because it will actually time out after a certain length of time, and I can't leave it connected to this spreadsheet. That's just the way it is. So thank you all for watching today's show. I do appreciate everyone who tunes in, watches the show, and watches it on delay or later in the week or later in the month. David Gann says, thank you. So I appreciate, Nay, you got a free month of bonding. Kudos to you. Thanks for watching the show. And everybody tune in next week where we'll give away another month of bonding. With that, I will bid you adieu and look forward to seeing you all next week.